Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Brothers and sisters, today we are going to discuss about topic number 2, Introduction to Economic System. In our last lecture, we spoke about 3 fundamental economic questions. That is, what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. So without we realizing, we in economy, all these 3 economic sector or 3 economic unit, we work together to answer these 3 questions. Okay, so what are those economic sectors? First, we have household. Second, we have firm. Third, we have government. So we work together, we work with one another to answer these 3 fundamental economic questions without us realizing. For example, if we have a look at Malaysia, what do we produce? So the resources, the climate, the weather, the soil that we have in our country allow us to produce, for example, palm oil, car, electronic item and whatnot. If you go to another country, for example, you go to Saudi Arabia, so what do they produce? They produce a lot of petroleum. Saudi Arabia is one of the largest oil producer on earth. Okay, so why they are able to do that? Because the soil or maybe the climate, the resources that they have in their country allow them to produce that kind of product. So the way we answer these 3 fundamental economic questions will determine what kind of economic system actually we are practicing. Okay, so basically economic system can be divided into 3 types. First one is capitalism, second one is socialism, and third one is mixed system. Then what about Islamic economy? Islamic economy is not considered as part of this economic system. Why? Because Islamic economic system is something else, and that is the thing that we will be discussing in our next lecture, inshallah. Okay, so basically, how do we define economic system? So economic system is a way of organizing the relationship between individual, firm, and the government agencies on how to make choice. So basically in economy, we have a problem. What problem? The problem of scarcity. The resources that we have are scarce. So because of scarcity problem, we have to make a choice. So who make a choice? Actually, these 3 units, they work together to make option or to make a choice. Okay, so the mechanism, the way, the methodologies we use to make a choice or to answer 3 fundamental economic questions will determine what kind of economic system that actually we are practicing. Okay, so in other words, economic system is the organized method of producing and distributing goods and services and resources in a society that answer 3 fundamental economic questions. Okay, so at the end, we will notice that when we answer these 3 fundamental economic questions, actually we are trying to get the answer what to produce and how do we distribute the goods, services, and resources that we have in our economy. Okay, so this is basic economic system. When I say basic economic system, the economy is assumed, okay, assume only to have 2 unit of economy or 2 economic unit. So what are they? First, consumer, second, producer. So by looking at this illustration, you will be able to see the relationship between the consumer and the producer. Okay, so every unit in the economy, either consumer or producer, they have certain function. They have certain economic role in the economy. Okay, for example, consumer. So what is the first function of consumer? Consumer is the supplier of factor of production. I believe that you still remember what is factor of production. There are 4 factor of production. First one is land, second labor, third capital, and fourth entrepreneurship. So who are the suppliers of these 4 factor of production? Actually, they are consumers. Okay, for example, we have land. So we rent that land out to the producer. Okay, for example, we have ourselves. So we offer ourselves to work for the producers. For example, myself, I offer myself to work with IIUM. So IIUM is considered as a producers. So I'm offering myself to become a labor to IIUM. So that's basically why do we say consumer is a supplier of factor of production. Okay, so we supply factor of production to the producer, and in return, what does producer will pay to us? Okay, producer will pay to you for the factors of production that you supply to them. For example, if you rent your land out to the producer, then producer will pay you rents. If you offer yourself to work for the producer, then producer will pay for you in the form of wages or salaries. If you offer your capital, for example, you have money, and by that money, producer buy machineries, equipment and whatnot, then in return, producer will pay you dividend or interest payment. And last but not least, if consumer, we decided to offer ourselves to the economy to become entrepreneur, then in return, producer or your own company will give you income in the form of profit. Okay, so that is the first function of consumer. Then what about producer? What is the function of producer? Remember, guys, producer, they will use all the resources or factor of production supplied by the consumer to produce goods and services. Okay, so they will supply goods and services to the consumer. So consumer, we have wants, we have needs, we have problem. So in order for that problem to be solved, then we need goods and services. So who will supply us these goods and services? The answer is a producer. And of course, we get that goods and services not for free. We have to pay some amount of money to the producer. Then producer will gain income from the consumer. So that's, brothers and sisters, the symbiosis in the economy. The consumer and the producer, we work together. We need one another. Nobody can say the others is not important. Okay, so this is a basic economic system. So moving on to the again, introduction economic system. Economic system act as a mechanism, like I said, as a way or methodologies by which labor and other economic resources are brought together. Okay, for example, the consumer, we supply the factor of production. One of it is labor and also the other resources. So they are brought together to produce and distribute the goods and services to fulfill people's need and wants. So that is economic system. Basically, we work with one another to solve our own problem by using goods and services that we produce by our own hand. Okay, so there are 4 types of economic system that I said before. First one is capitalism, second one socialism, third one mixed system, and we have another dimension of economic system, that is Islamic economic system, and that will be in our next lecture. Okay, so first, let's talk about capitalism first. Alright, so what is capitalism? An economic system where individuals make all the main economic decision without any government intervention. So the keyword is that who make decision? The one who make decision is individuals. Individual consists of 2. First, consumer, and second, producer. So consumer will make decision together with the producer without government intervention at all. We are talking about pure capitalism. So of course, pure capitalism is no longer exists nowadays, but this is pure capitalism, no government intervention at all. Okay? It means limited government involvement. So what is the job of the government? Government have to legislate the law, rules and regulation for both consumer and producer to follow. Government is the middleman. Okay, is the middleman between the producer and the consumer. Consumer, we have our own goals. Producer, they have their own goal. Producer, they want to maximize the profit. Consumer, we want to maximize our satisfaction. Sometimes our goals clashes. Okay, and here comes the government. They become the middleman that will come out with the law or rules and regulation for both parties to follow, so that both interests will be protected. Okay, so the price system is the main mechanism. Okay, so who make decision in capitalism? Like I said, the one that make decision is individual. How? They use price system, or we call it price mechanism. Okay, I will share to you later how does price mechanism work in the economy. This system is also called as laissez-faire, market economy, or free enterprise. So sometimes we call it free enterprise, laissez-faire system, free market. So they are all the same with the capitalism. Okay, so let's look at the characteristic of capitalism. First one, we have private ownership of resources. Meaning that when I say private ownership, everybody is free to own the resources. Private means no government. Okay, private means no government. So everybody is free to own their own resources. Okay, so every individual has a right to acquire or to own private ownership of resources. So you are free to buy your own houses, you are free to buy your own land, you are free to buy your own clothes, you are free to buy anything that you want to buy. Okay, so that is the first characteristic. They can accumulate property and use it as they choose. And there is no restriction on the number of property that one might own. Okay, so second characteristic of capitalism is freedom of enterprise and choice. So what does it mean? Everybody is free to make their own business. Everybody is free to do their own business, and everybody is free to sell anything that they want if they wish to get profit from their business. And third one is consumer sovereignty. What does it mean? The power of consumer is put in place. Okay, what does it mean? The producer, whenever they want to produce goods and services, they will look at what the thing that consumer demand for. If there is a demand for certain product, definitely they will produce that product without considering whether that product is ethical or not, whether that product meeting the religious requirement or not. Okay, so that is consumer sovereignty, and basically the consumer, they have a power to choose. Nobody will force them to buy something, and they are free to make complaint if they don't satisfy with the product that they buy. So that's what we mean by consumer sovereignty. And next one, capitalism promotes competition. When everybody is free to make their own business, and everybody is free to produce anything that the consumers demand, then the competition can be promoted. So what is the condition of the competition to happen is you must have at least two producers or two sellers. Monopoly is rarely to happen in the capitalism. Of course, they exist, but most of the time in any industry, there will be more than one key player in that particular industry. Therefore, competition can be promoted. So what is the good thing about competition? When seller or producers start to compete with one another, they will focus more on the quality. They will focus more on meeting the demand of the consumer. There will be consumer orientation. Whatever demanded by the consumer, they will try to fulfill it. Okay, so that is a good thing about competition. And next one, limited government intervention. The government will not interfere in any way in any economic dealings. Okay, government will not set the price. The government will not tell the producer, you cannot produce this, you have to produce that. Okay, government, their job is only to take care of the welfare of the people, make sure producers and the consumers do not clash. Okay, they will come up with the law, rules and regulation for both parties to follow. Okay, but basically they don't interfere in any economic activities. Price system, like I said, in capitalism, they believe a lot in price system. So what is price system or price mechanism? Price mechanism, I can say, they are interaction between demand and supply. They are interaction between demand and supply. So price mechanism play a big role in capitalism system. Why? Everything will be decided by using price mechanism. If you were to ask me, who decide what to produce? Producers or consumers? The answer is none of them. The answer is price mechanism. Okay, for example, producer, they will not. Okay, producer, I give you one example. For example, Abu sell ABC. Okay, so this is the first day Abu sell ABC, and Abu is the first producer of ABC. So he just does try and error. Okay, Abu just does try and error. So why not I try to sell ABC today, and let's see what is the response of the consumer. So after one day, he find that 50 customer buy ABC. 50 customer buy ABC, and that ABC finish is in just 2 hours. So what does that mean? So meaning that tomorrow Abu has to increase the production of ABC. So who decide that the production of ABC need to be increased? The answer is neither consumer nor producer. So the one who decide is the interaction between both. That is what we call price mechanism. Okay, so the price of that ABC, let's say 5 ringgit per cup. And next month, what happened? Ali comes into the market. Okay, market of ABC. And Ali also sell ABC. He copy what has been done by Abu. Okay, but now Ali offer ABC at a price cheaper than Abu's price. Let's say Ali sell at the price of 4 ringgit. Abu 5 ringgit per cup. Ali 4 ringgit per cup. Then what happened? A lot of customer of Abu now run away to Ali. Okay, why? Because Ali sell the same type, same taste of ABC, but at lower price. Okay, so now, what happened to Abu? Abu will reduce the price. Am I right? Abu will reduce the price. That is what we call competition. So competition will reward the customer. Why? Because now they are able to buy the same product at lower price. Okay. Now my question is, who decide the price of ABC to be reduced from 5 ringgit to 4 ringgit? The answer is not the consumer, not the producer, but the interaction between both. That's what we call price mechanism. Price mechanism is the one who decide that the price of ABC should reduce from 5 ringgit to become 4 ringgit. Okay, so the price mechanism means the free operation of demand and supply forces without any intervention. And price mechanism only can work in the economy if the government does not interfere or intervene at all. Okay, how can the government decide? How can the government intervene? For example, government can set the price. Set the floor price for ABC cannot lower than 450 ringgit, for instance. Okay, so when the government interfere, then the price mechanism cannot work. So in capitalism, the belief in price mechanism should be let free. Nobody should interfere price mechanism. So all economic processes of consumption, production, exchange, saving, investment and distribution work under this price mechanism system, but I don't want to discuss them in any further. Okay, so let's look at the merits or advantages of capitalism. First one, capitalism, production according to the needs of the consumers, of course. Okay, so how do they answer the question what to produce? They will be based on what the customer needs or what the customer demand for. If the customer demand for more food, then they will produce more food. If the customer demand for more clothing, for example, then they will produce more clothing. Okay, second one, economic freedom. Capitalism promotes economic freedom, the right to earn and retain property, and freedom of enterprise, and also choice of occupation. Everybody is free to become what they want to become. Everybody is free to buy goods that they want to buy. And all businesses, they are free to produce whatever that they want to produce, so long they get profit. So that's what we mean economic freedom. Freedom is the wealth that everybody wish to have, and that exists in capitalism. Okay, and next one is efficient utilization of resources. So what does it mean? Competition creates efficiency in production, and quality goods are produced at lower cost. Okay, so when you focus on what the customer demands for, and competition is very healthy in capitalism, you will find any way that enable you to produce more products. Why? Because you profit oriented, then you want to produce a lot of product, more product at lower costs. Okay, at lower cost. Why you have to lowering the cost? Because now you compete with one another. When you compete, you will compete in terms of price. You have to reduce the price to win the customer's money. Am I right? But when you reduce the price, your profit will be lower. Okay, and remember, your goal is you want to maximize profit. So what you can do is you have to find any way that will allow you to reduce the cost. Okay, any way that can allow you to reduce the cost. Then when the cost is reduced and the product is sold to the customer in lower price, that's what we call efficient utilization of resources. Everybody is happy. You get the profit that you want, customer get the goods at the quality that they wish for, and they get the goods at the price that they are able to pay. Okay, so this is what we call private interest leads to the public interest. Okay, private interest leads to the public interest. Can everybody have their own private interest? And because everybody is striving to maximize their own private interest, and at the end we will achieve what we call as public interest. Okay, so that's one of the thing that is important in capitalism. Next merit is variety of consumer goods. Of course, when competition happen, producers will find way, okay, to produce anything that is based on the customer's demand. Then the variety of product in the market can exist. Okay, next one, enhanced trade, business and research and development. Again, when they focus on to solve the problem of the consumer, when they focus on to provide something that is demand for by the consumer, then R&D can be promoted. What is R&D? Research and development. They will always make a research. They will never stop develop a new product which is good to the market, good to the consumer again and again. Okay, so producers are on the look for new innovation to compete with other producers. Kan, for example, you're already selling something that is also sold by your competitors. Until when are you going to be in that particular competition? So that's why producers, they will always make a research and development so that they will produce something superior than their competitors is selling. Okay, so automatic incentive. Capitalism provide encouragement to efficient producers. Efficient producers will benefit from the price mechanism as compared to inefficient producers. And next one is flexibility. Flexibility means capitalism provide flexibility that automatically changes with the circumstances. Okay, for example, during war period, let's say the country involved in war, then during that time, the economy will need more military equipment. Then they will produce more military equipment. Okay, during normal period, people will demand for more food. They will increase the food. During winter season, customer will demand for more winter coat. They will produce more winter coat. During summer season, the consumer will demand for the attire or clothing that's suitable for summer, for example. Then they will produce that kind of clothes during summer. So that's what we mean by flexibility. The thing that they produce will be according to what the consumer demand during specified period of time. Alright, moving on to the next demerits of capitalism economic system. And the first one is inequality of distribution of wealth and income. This is normal. In the country that practicing capitalism, inequalities or disparity in income will normally happen. Okay, so what is inequality? It is normal to see in capitalist country that the richest is getting richer, the poorest are getting poorer. Okay, for example, the billionaire, look at Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg. Their income is not like my income. My income is calculated based on monthly basis. But these billionaires, their income is based on second basis. They just stay at their home and do nothing, shake their leg, and every second the money will goes into their bank account. But at the same time, we have majority of people, they wake up early morning 5 a.m., they go to work at 6 a.m., they arrive at the office at 8 a.m., and then they come back home at 10 p.m., and they only earn 100 ringgit for that day. Okay, so this is inequalities, and it's normal to happen in capitalist country, especially when the producers become too powerful. To some extent, they can control the market, for instance. Okay, so when they control the market, they can reap a lot of profit, and that will contribute to the inequalities of income situation to happen. Okay, so that is a in terms of inequality of distribution. Next one, inflation and high unemployment rate. Okay, because in capitalist system, the government cannot interfere in any economy activities, including the price level of the product. So when the producer increases the price of product, the government, in pure capitalism, they should not do anything. So inflation cannot be avoided. Same goes to the unemployment rate. Remember, producers, they will maximize the profit by minimizing the cost. So sometimes when they minimize the cost, one option that they will opt is to reduce the number of labor or to reduce the number of employees. So when this happens, more people will get jobless. Okay, more people will get jobless, then unemployment rate will increase. Okay, and next one is lack of social welfare. Okay, social welfare here means social welfare is almost ignored. Why? Because the government cannot do anything when certain problem happen in the economy. Okay, they believe that the economy is self-corrective. They believe that the economy is self-regulating. Therefore, the government should not do anything. If unemployment rate increases, they just wait and see for the economy to recover by itself. If the inflation happen, the price of everything happen, for them that is normal in the economy. Just wait and see the economy will recover itself. So that's why sometimes, somehow, the social welfare of the people are almost neglected. Okay, so that is the demerit for that slide. So moving on to the next slide, unnecessary variety of wasteful competition. So sometimes the competition is become too intense, and because of this competition, producers have to spend unnecessarily for certain expenditure. For example, advertising. So why we need advertising? Because these producers, they need to compete with one another. Imagine the competition is controlled, then there is no such thing like unnecessary advertising promotion. Okay, so this is another disadvantages of capitalism. Next one, misallocation of resources. Producers only produce product with high profit. Sometimes the product is really needed by the people, but since the product cannot give them much profit, they will not prefer to produce that kind of product. Therefore, they will produce some product that can give them more profit, even though that product is not needed by majority of the people. Okay, and last but not least is social costs. Producers to increase profit and leads to a neglect in the welfare of their workers. Okay, they become too encroached or obsessed with the profit. They want to minimize the cost at all time, and as a result, the welfare of the workers is neglected. The pollution arises. Water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution will happen more frequently. The reason is because they want to minimize the cost. Okay, so that is all the demerits of the capitalism. And the next slide is about the summary on how the capitalism system solve the problem of fundamental economic problem. What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. So what to produce? How do they answer this question? They determine the answer for this question by following what demanded by the consumer. So whatever demanded by the consumer and give them a lot of profit, they will produce the product. For whom to produce? They use income distribution. For people who earn more income, they will be able to buy more product. People who earn less income, they will buy less product. People who have no income, they will not be able to buy any product. Simple. And last but not least, how to produce. They will use whichever technique that can minimize the cost. So if labor is intensive, able to minimize the cost, they will opt for labor intensive. And if capital intensive can minimize the cost, then they will opt for capital intensive. Okay, so brothers and sisters, that's all my lecture about capitalism. So in our next class, inshallah, we'll be talking about the socialism system and also the mixed economic system and also Islamic economic system. Thank you very much.